Because playing the bad guys is always more fun.
So
And my
damn
friend,
true.
You have a selection.
All
So
right,
pick
all
up
right.
that
I'm
last
getting
guns.
it. I'm understanding. What is Warhammer 40K timeline of 40K lore by Bricky? Now, I have a lot of viewers who are into this. I really don't know anything. I believe Warhammer is essentially space D&D. And I don't play D&D myself, but I played Baldur's Gate and I loved that. And I know Warhammer has some banger games too. Let's learn. Let's see what it's about.
In the grim darkness of the 41st millennium exists the Empire of Man, a backwards carcass of an empire comprised of many devoted
This dude's kind of
forces.
cool. He looks like Kano, but way cooler. Kano, if Kano wasn't a jobber. Like if Kano was actually relevant, this guy.
Carcass of an empire comprised of many devoted forces, gigantic robot knights, religious machine cultists, and incredibly heavily armored women, most likely with sweltering abs.
I'm into it.
One must know what those abs taste like.
You know what, dude? I can't even be mad. W-ad for letting it rock. That one was good. And the imagery's pretty nice too, respectfully. Kind of a Noggin coated baddie.
Gamer Sup
His?
flavor is here.
That's his flavor?
Sweet six-pack has arrived.
Shout out to him.
A delicious and refreshing cherry pineapple blend. Play the sound.
Cherry pineapple sounds good. Guile's theme? This dude's cooking.
My Bricky's official Gamer Subs flavor is here. Sweet six-pack, not only in regular energy mode, but also in caffeine-free. The cherry pineapple flavor is not
What's
the kind
the point of drinking caffeine-free G Fuel? Like all the chemicals, none of the benefit?
flavor that just smacks you in the face. It is light, it is refreshing, and it's one of those things where you sip it and you go, not bad. And next thing you know, you are having your fourth refill the same day. And it is available now. Link in the description. Use code Bricky for 10% off your entire order. Not just for this, but for everything you buy. And I'm not dumb. If you buy any of these tubs, regular, caffeine-free of my sweet six-pack flavor, you will get a Muscle Girl 32-ounce shaker completely for free. There
You
are
guys
only
sub
a
to that
couple thousand
Japanese
of those
muscle bar
shakers, so
Twitch
get it
channel?
while supplies
I am.
lasts. I cannot believe
Well, I
we finally
follow
have
it.
this, but I told everyone.
I should
like,
sub,
once
though.
you find out the flavor, you'll be like, yeah, that tracks. And damn straight does it.
All right, hear me out. It's going too long, bro. We got the code, brother. Show me bald men with red eyes and machine religion.
The age of darkness has begun. Roughly 60 million years ago, there existed aliens. And these aliens
I'm into
lived
that.
short,
You know we love aliens.
painful lives. They belonged to radiation-stricken worlds and often died of various cancers before the age of 30. These aliens, the Necron tier,
Reminded me of the Prophet from Halo a little bit.
up to the stars and found extreme beings of real power. Beings with the ability to create life. The old ones of the galaxy. They asked these old ones for help. Please cure us of our ailments. To which the old ones said, piss off. So the Necron tier gathered together and did the sensible thing. They declared war upon these old beings and were promptly beaten.
We're killing
into
the
dirt back to
boomers?
their short, painful lives.
It's kind of
In the
based.
world of Warhammer, there is a hell. This hell is not like you and I know it. It's more of an afterlife, a place where dead souls end up. This place has many
Isn't that how we know what hell is? Isn't that how we view hell?
names. The Imperium, the Sea of Souls, the Immaterium, and the Ether. But mostly, we just call it the Warp. While you and I know of hell as a place of horrors
Oh,
and
we don't
punishment,
burn.
the
We
Warp
chill.
isn't really that. Not in the beginning. It's energy, but the kind of energy formed from thought and soul, psychic energy, where the dead souls of people end up in a place that is impossible to understand. No laws of reality exist.
Bro, hold on. I'm sorry. Do you see his shirt? That's goated. Just a little lord? Is this Warhammer adjacent or is this his branding? because I'm just a little guy and I'm a skull. So it's perfect. Just a little lord, whatever that is. I love it. If it's 40K, brother, I'm already in.
Like time is
I feel like it's his
suggestion, and it is not something that can be braved easily. The warp would be like sailing the ocean in a pirate movie. To jump from your ship would be certain death. To stay in the sea for too long on your boat could drive a man mad. And there are many dangerous things lurking in those depths. Yet the sea is not evil. It simply is.
So when everyone dies, they go to hell, quote unquote, which is the warp? Or is this still reserved for evildoers? Question mark. I'm sure he'll answer.
Mostly. There are more malevolent beings in those waters, areas that you do not sail towards. This would be known as the realm of chaos.
All right, so
the
this is the real hell that we know?
As a special area led by 3 chaos gods. Khorne, the god of combat, murder, and slaughter.
Okay.
With a pile of skulls.
Of what? He did not say of slut, but that's what it sounded like. Chaos, murder, and slut? Brother, sign me up.
The god of combat, murder, and slaughter. With a
slaughter. Okay, all right. Still sign me up, I guess. I'm down.
Pile of skulls taken in his name.
No, never mind. He's taken my people. Never mind.
God of change, mystery, and deceit. A confusing paradox of lies, schemes, and sorceries. And Nurgle, god of rot.
Resident Tubby Boy.
Genshin Impact.
So
All
true.
things rot in the end. And Grandfather Nurgle is waiting for you with open arms.
Millennia's husband. Right
These
here.
gods ruled their respective realm in the
Right. You put a gun to my head, tell me to pick one. I'm def picking the god of slaughter and other things like that. Though the rock god is kind of cool too.
warp, sending their many followers against each other in the great game to be the most powerful of all the gods. So the warp exists. Hell is real, parallel to our galaxy, with the realm of chaos and its gods fighting for control.
But is there heaven?
There are also gods of real space, gods of the normal world too. They're called Catan, and they eat stars.
You think God stays in heaven because he too lives in fear of what he's created?
These star gods,
Dr. Doom? No way.
Of our poor Necron tier, and how the old ones cast them aside and said, you know what? You guys want immortality? Oh, we will make it happen. We are the gods of the tangible, of real space.
He missed one of the chaos gods? All right, so YouTube gang. My chat didn't, well, Rensler, the guy who said he missed one of the chaos gods, he was like, oh no, it's this guy's video. I have no beef with this guy. I don't know much of him. I don't think Rensler has beef with him either. But if I am being given like improper info, let me know. I typed in Warhammer lore and this had the most views, so I went with it. But then again, there's 31 minutes. Maybe he can't fit it all, but we'll see. It's fun so far. This might not be the only Warhammer vid I watch, you know what I mean? So we'll get to it. You have no beef, but he's not explaining it well. We'll see. We'll see. We'll watch it through. We'll watch other stuff. He's trying his best. He's just a little guy. He's a little lord. Yeah, he might mention it later. But so far, it's fun. I kind of understand where you guys are coming from, being so locked into this. Do they have, like, a CRPG of Warhammer? Like a quality one, though? Doesn't got to be Baldur's Gate standard. Would be sick if it was, though. Because I kind of want to vibe in this universe. More so than, you know, just playing Space Marine Gears of War. Which is cool in its own right, but, you know.
We can give you a cure. So then they ate all their souls.
Sick. Seinfeld reference, also sick.
And turned them into robotic automaton, feasting on their souls and leaving a hollow shell of an intelligence.
Just 40 years of books, brother. You want me to read? Oh, God.
Is technically immortal. With the power
That's what the 40K stands for, huh?
Souls, they turned their new robotic slaves on the old ones and hunted them to extinction. The Necron tier, now the soulless, undying Necrons, got their wish at the price of their souls.
This guy looks kind of cool. Necrons.
The number of kind gods on an amputated hand.
All right, I'm about to ask something extremely stupid to those of you who are probably in the know with things like this. I called this space D&D in the beginning. My bad if that's offensive. But does like D&D have a story like this? No, right? Like you make your own story, but this has its own story. Like there's an author, like there's one dude who wrote all this and we follow it. It's very D&D gameplay wise. Okay, but like as far as like lore wise and stuff, this has more entrenched deep lore that you're like supposed to follow. Whereas D&D, you can just go insane, go do your own story, your own thing, create whatever you want, make your own D&D, but there's timeline. Okay, gotcha.
With time, the selfish star gods turned on each other, fighting one another for more chances at glory and power. With this, the leader of the Necrons, Zarek, the Silent King, the man who doomed his species when he accepted this deal, waited, planned, bide his time until he seized the perfect moment and turned his legions of undead citizens against the star gods. Gods cannot be killed, but they can be broken. So Zarek broke the star gods into thousands of pieces and locked them away in vaults, taking their free will away as they did to them,
like Fallout,
and sealed them away as basically Pokemon to be used as weapons in the future.
Okay. I'm into it.
It's the Void Dragon!
Zarek then, with his perfect memory, exiled himself for his sins, flying out to the darkness between galaxies to atone for what he had done. This entire situation, the genocide of the Old Ones and the rebellion of Zarek, will go down in history as the War in Heaven. It is the most brutal war the galaxy has ever seen and ever will see. This was a conflict.
Surface level information? Team Zarek
took an entire galaxy-spanning species and pitted them against gods that ate stars. The Necrons, rather crippled from, you know, the war in heaven, decided to go to sleep in gigantic tomb worlds on various planets until the upstart species of the galaxy died out. And so turns out when you have a war that lasts tens, hundreds of thousands of years and involves the genociding of multiple species, the old ones of the galaxy, and the consumption of souls from an entire race, the warp gets a little wacky. You know, if you had a kiddie pool and it was nice and calm, Korn is over there splashing about, so you don't really go in that direction. Nurgle has explosive diarrhea, so you don't really go in that direction either, but you can still kind of get in the pool. The pool's still fine. Turns out when you add a couple trillion souls to that kiddie pool, it'll make the waves a little more turbulent. And turns out a lot of them like to pick a side, Nurgle, Tzeentch, or Korn.
It's fun to pick sides though. We all like a little tribalism.
The once calmer warp, the once relaxing kiddie pool, has now been bloated. A million years of war will certainly make Korn, god of murder and slaughter, more powerful. A million years of war will probably make Tzeentch, god of deception and change, a little more powerful. And good God, a million years of war will make Nurgle, god of decay, oh, just the tiniest bit more powerful. Now, entering that kiddie pool is no longer fun, it's dangerous. The warp is now a problem. Hell is resembling hell a lot closer to what we imagined it originally. The Sea of Souls and the Realm of Chaos are now intertwined. So who else to brave the galaxy than a species that won't need to deal with that?
Everybody looked so cool up until that guy.
Yeah.
I'm not rocking with these space elves, dude. Look at this goofy haircut. That's a cool weapon though.
Of elves, tall, slender, pointy ears, bit more androgynous
praying mantis looking on.
DeviantArt will tell you, and a bit stronger on the emotional side. The old ones, as I mentioned, could create life, and when they were getting, you know, absolutely bodied by the Catan and the Necrons, they made some new races to try to help them. One of them was the Eldar. It didn't save them, but they're here now.
They're too bug adjacent for me. I assume that's like what they're supposed to be. They're space elves, but they're like bug adjacent.
Oh, and also the orcs, but
yeah,
they're
orcs
busy right now.
Shout out orcs. They're everywhere, man. It is D&D. I knew it.
The Eldar are a particularly psychically powerful race, so they were really adept at being able to handle the new turbulent warp of chaos and good at killing Necrons, hence why they went to sleep. Being psychically gifted is basically like being a wizard, but you get your wizard powers from hell. This is called being a psychic.
Hey, it's
and
the Space Marine guys.
To do cool wizard shit like lightning from your hands or reading someone's mind, and do that. But you siphon the energy to do that from the warp. Luckily, the Eldar are very good at handling this without too many negative effects because, you know, summoning power from the Sea of Souls with the new Chaos friends
Yo, where did he didn't get all of this stuff no, it'd be way too expensive. Where's all the footage he's getting from? Like, is there a show of this? Are these game cutscenes?
Are pretty good at it. And you see, what's really cool and also awful about Warhammer is that most developed species travel long, faster than light distances by going through that warp. They create a tear in reality to unreality and move through it. Faster than light travel? Cringe. We go through hell itself to deliver your packages. For those of you who play Minecraft, you know how the nether is like a pocket dimension? So moving 10 spaces in the nether is actually moving something like 1,000 in the real world. That's basically
I actually didn't know that.
Travel is.
It's kind of cool.
Much like in the nether, there are a lot of things that want to kill you. The Eldar found a way to do so in between realities. Not
short movies for Warhammer is a thing. Interesting. I'd be down to watch one.
Regular reality, not the warp, something else.
The webway.
Purgatory of sorts, a fabricated psychic realm that allows
sounds
them
very
to
Marvel.
Fearing the
non-derogatory. Non-derogatory. That is not an insult. I just Spider-Man. Don't beat me up. Warhammer's way better than Marvel. Don't beat me up.
Effects of the warp. The Eldar were the perfect fit for the new galaxy, and they took it with open arms and pointy ears. The empire of the Eldar spread.
Did they, Rinsler? That's kind of funny. Rinsler said, "Good news. Marvel took it from Warhammer." I believe it.
Everywhere.
Those thieves.
It spread all the way until now, the 21st century. That's right.
We
While
made
you
it.
were watching NPC streams on TikTok, the space elves were ruling the galaxy, and they did so for quite a long period of time.
So true.
The 21st century came and went. Humanity grew and grew, all under the nose of their elf
So
overlords.
we normal humans are represented in Warhammer lore, huh?
At this time, humans advanced, your classic sci-fi style way. We began to expand, colonize our solar system, terraformed our planets, created new and more powerful machines and starships. The age of Terra, also known as Earth, but we call it Terra here, was here and existed between the 21st century all the way until the 15th millennia. Not much is known about this time, not much needs to be known. Humanity grew up, sought the stars. It's classic. Then came the years between 15,000 and 25,000, the age of technology.
That's where we are,
or to
chat.
some, the dark age of technology. This is when humanity reached a new apex of technological understanding. When you think of sci-fi, there's a lot of things you can think of. Star Trek, maybe Star Wars style. You can go cyberpunk dystopian. The age of technology was deep sci-fi, like a scientific prowess that fringed on magic. This is also when the first ever psychers began showing up in humanity. Individuals with the genetic mutation to be able to access the warp, and then because of that, travel through it. Humanity was no longer constricted to their early...
Listen, I don't know if I'm being biased because I have a shiny skull over here, but like this dude looks mad cool. The bald dude in the beginning with the red eye looked mad cool too.
Because of that, travel through it. Humanity was no longer constricted to their early ways of travel. With warp travel, they could go anywhere in the galaxy. They equipped ships with gigantic AI machines, with everything you would ever need to know about mankind, and sent them out on colony ships to expand their influence across the galaxy. And this was truly the golden age of humanity. And with every golden age, there is a fall. While the new human upstarts of the galaxy were reaching new levels of technology and prowess, the Eldar were engaging in debauchery.
Your model is legit what you would see on an imperium flag. So you're saying I already have my own origin chosen? What do you call it? Race? I don't know. Shout out the imperium though. I look forward to meeting them.
When a species has everything, you can produce unlimited food out of nothing. Your need for farmers and workers, gone. You have dominated the stars and have created a fast travel system.
So what you're saying is there's a universal basic income in Warhammer. Peak civilization.
Dangers of the warp. You have nothing else to do. You have no struggles, no problems.
So
and feel as
it's if the Roman Empire won. If the Roman Empire never failed, that's Warhammer 40K. Book it. We're free to do what we want.
there is nowhere else to go. Well, you begin to experiment. The Eldar
The corn
started
was cool,
harmless enough.
lazy.
You know, you take a serious interest in your species' culture, your arts,
See?
paintings.
They know. All right. I see it. The dude who wrote this def like the Roman Empire. Can we blame him?
Poems, plays. These are Eldar, elves, remember? Their emotions are heightened, more powerful than us humans. So your plays get louder. They start to push on the limits of your hearing ability. Your music becomes different, more deranged. It pushes the boundaries of what is art. The visual spectacle of art becomes more bizarre, more delusional, more eccentric. And let's not forget a very important sense. Touch. Pornography is one thing.
I thought he meant money.
Brothels
That's what I thought he was
is
going
what if
with,
they all
with that
mixed? What
hand.
if your brothels were part of your art and
But
music?
hey,
And
you guys said it. I thought he like called corn the god of slut instead of slaughter. We're getting there.
what if those became more deranged? The boundaries of debauchery were not just met, but shattered. Next thing you know, murder is commonplace and often mixed with the art, music, and sex. Pain is a common byproduct of entertainment. Whatever sensation you can have must be increased.
I mean, we used to watch, you know, executions back in the day. We're just returning to form.
Must be taken to the limits. The Eldar Empire slipped into
That's
a
insane,
nightmarish realm
Rinsler. Decade-long plays.
of debauchery.
This guy
and
looks cool.
excess, with
Little
the worst of
vampire
it
lad.
taking place in a city in the webway, a black market for
Gamora.
these kinds of heinous
Did they
acts.
also make Gamora from this name? Gamora? Marvel stealing again? SMH.
Known as Kamara. Some Eldar saw the writing on the wall, saw what was happening to their species and how far they had slipped. So they boarded continent-sized starships called craft worlds and left their empire,
Very
seeking
Nautilus-esque.
a more enlightened, calmer existence among their peers. Some, those in Kamara, pushed it to even greater heights, relishing the pain and torment they inflicted on those around them. All during this, the warp, the yin to the yang of the world, was fed by these emotions, by the psychic power of the Eldar, by the souls taken in these depraved acts on a galactic scale. And just like that, Eldar ended. Slaanesh, the fourth chaos god, was birthed into existence and
We're
consumed
here.
the souls of 90%.
All right, well, here she is. I see why he saved her, brother. Hold on. Can we blame him? Can we blame the lad?
Was
I don't think we can.
and consumed
Slaanesh,
the
my
souls
queen.
of 90% of the Eldar population. Those that fled were spared the worst of it, and those in the webway and Kamara were able to stave off the pull of Slaanesh so long as they continued to commit horrid acts of torture and violence. But for the majority of the Eldar, their empire died with Slaanesh's birth. The new fourth chaos god, she who thirsts.
Biblically accurate angel. I vibe with it.
The god of unspeakable excess of pleasure, pain, hedonism, and
Wait, this is the goddess of slut. This is what you guys were talking about. I didn't think it was actually going to be a goddess of slut, so to speak.
had been born. With the fall of the Eldar Empire came the ruin of humanity. Slaanesh's birth sent storms in the warp across the galaxy, making travel between star systems impossible. Coupled with a huge classic AI rebellion, as a staple in these sci-fi settings, humanity began to suffer the age of strife. Now, planets that relied on intergalactic travel were completely cut off. Long-range messages normally sent through the warp were snuffed out. If you were a planet that was great at mining stuff but couldn't get food, well, you know that movie about the rugby players in the mountains? Oh, and because of these insane warp storms and fluctuations, psychers began to appear among the human
looks like
population
Shang
a
Tsung.
bit more often. Now, this initially had them hunted down as witches.
No, this isn't 40K lore, right? This is just some animation. I don't know. Is there a 40K anime?
That's pretty common in this setting, but some deemed it right to protect them. Unfortunately,
Space dwarves? I love dwarves. Dwarves are so cool. Every fantasy setting needs a dwarf. And like Warhammer counts as fantasy, right?
for those people, psychers, because they open a gateway to the warp, don't really know how to use their powers well, and they kind of attract demons, who then force their way through the Psyker as a conduit of sorts and begin to slaughter the population of your planet. The Age of Strife was a catastrophic period of time for humanity and set back.
We still had horses though. W.
Their progress tenfold over the not one, not two, but 5,000 year period. During this time, the age of humanity that we know began to form. Worlds equipped with large mechs for agriculture began to equip them with weapons
For agriculture? Peak.
to defend
Not
from
overkill.
alien and demonic invaders. Over 5,000 years, this became a custom and tradition, dubbing them as night worlds, a feudal
Yeah, High Master says 40k art goes hard, and I agree. As you can tell, I'm a VTuber over here. I'm not a normal VTuber. I'm not like a humanoid creature, because when I would look at male VTubers and just like male anime characters in general, I didn't vibe with them. I didn't like the aesthetic. Like the Warhammer dudes, bro, they're pretty lit.
society of honor-bound knights and gigantic robots that uphold the chivalric code to defend their worlds and honor. A group of individuals on Mars, after radioactively bombing their planet to become inhospitable to human life, ran their entire lives underground on the few life support systems keeping them alive. Those technicians who could work on the machines and keep them operational were revered, and over 5,000 years went from skilled members of society to full-blown priests. The cult mechanicus, or tech priests of Mars.
I assume the dude I saw in the beginning with the red eye was one of these guys. They look kind of similar. Skull, ornaments, one eye being red,
Formed in
etc.
the ashes of the red planet with
I
a
don't
relic
have Space Marine lazy, but maybe. You never know. I love Gears, and it looks like Gears to me. Shout out Gears of War.
religious fervor and doctrine on the cult of the machine god. And on Earth, or Terra, techno-barbarian tribes waged war across the
Sick.
planet in a Mad Max
Yo, how
style
come we don't have Warhammer VTubers, bro? We're missing out. What are we doing? Why isn't this dude a VTuber?
of blood and gore. Until finally, a mysterious man who lived in the shadows of Terra for millennia finally revealed himself to the
Jesus?
populace. His name was the Emperor.
Kinda.
He deemed himself the Emperor of mankind. Where did he come from?
Jesus.
I don't know. Why is he
Sick.
10 feet tall and the most powerful psyker of all of mankind? I don't know. Why is he basically immortal? I don't know. Where'd Cotton Eye Joe go? Who knows? But he's here, and he isn't happy with
So
all
this
of
is the one piece of Warhammer lore that there isn't any real answer behind? I guess the answer would have to be, despite my dumb meme, he is just kind of God. The God. Not God of sluttery, etc. He's just God. Kanaki was born in the BC. Oh wait, Jesus exists in Warhammer? Like the Jesus we know?
you ripping up Terra. So he began the Unification Wars, where he and a very early version of the famous Space Marines, the Thunder Warriors, reunited Terra
So
under
those Thunder Warriors are the dudes in the Space Marine game? Question mark?
a single banner. With blood. Then, after taking over Earth, he reunited the Thunder Warriors into the fucking dirt. This is where we get the Imperium of Man.
I guess it's not
also
Space
known as
Marine, guys.
The Imperium. The new faction headed by the Emperor of Mankind, with a treaty signed with the cult Mechanicus on Mars to spread out and reunite humanity after the catastrophic Age of Strife. But first, the Emperor is going to need some smaller versions of himself. 20 of them, 18 of them, I meant, gene-crafted sons of the strongest human to ever live. All of them possess unparalleled strategic power, intelligence, formidable strength and size, a real powerful force to unite humanity and stop the chaos of the current
No, never mind,
galaxy.
never mind. I was about to be like, are these Space Marines? But I think there's a lot of Space Marines, right? These guys are just super special. The Primarchs.
Speaking of chaos, you ever seen that image of that guy? It's like throwing
Classic.
the baby like a basketball.
Classic baby
That's not
eating.
what happened. The Chaos Gods intervened and grabbed the 18 Primarch gestation pods and yeeted them across the
No
galaxy at
way.
a whim, everywhere they could possibly go. A galactic game of keep away. So the Emperor had to get them back. So begins the Great Crusade. A crusade
It's like
across
getting the
the
Dragon Balls.
stars to reunite not just humanity, but the Emperor with his fallen sons. The first to be found was Horus. one of the strongest and most noble sons. The Emperor carried with him a legion of newly crafted warriors with genetic material made from their Primarch father. These are the newly made Space Marines.
Okay,
For Horus,
cool,
his
W.
were the Luna Wolves. And as the Emperor
They're from the game, no way.
continued on his great crusade, he found more and more of his sons, reuniting them with their individual Space Marine legions. Leman Russ, the cunning hunter with the Space
That's
Wolves.
such like a normal name.
Rogel Dorm, the Phalanx
That's
with
weirder.
the Imperial Fists. Angron, the Barbarian, the very
Fitting name, Angron. Look at that face, dude. He scares me. I like him. He has the avatar point on his head.
with his World Eaters. Fulgrim, the Perfect, with
This
his Emperor's
dude.
children.
Oh, dude, I need the armor. Hold on. Wait, just put me there. Chat, it's perfect. Look at me. Am I not beautiful? This is my new official model. I hope you like it. I think it suits me very well.
And Jagatai Khan, the Swift, the Stoic, and his white scars. Those were just some of the 18, and one by one his lost Primarch sons were returned to him, and their Space Marine legions returned to them. The Great Crusade saw humanity once again reconquer the stars, returning worlds of humanity back to the Imperium and killing any and all who stood against their noble crusade. But in the years of the 31st millennia, treachery would break this all apart.
Men, we don't know what we did.
Horus, the Emperor's most beloved and favored sons, named War Master for the Crusade, succumbed to the power of chaos and daddy issues, all because of that bastard Erebus. Yo, fuck Erebus. Slowly, Horus would become corrupted, turning the Emperor's sons against him. This begins the most pivotal moment in our story, and the one that has like 50 books written about it, the Horus
Brother,
heresy.
50 books written about this. I assume he's like exaggerating for effect. But you guys said there's like 40 books? I feel like there might be more in general.
Half. 9 of the 18 Primarchs turned against the Emperor, and the following
like
years
12.
were a bloody battle for the throne of Terra. The Emperor originally was working on a special webway project, just like the Eldar, to make faster-than-light travel significantly easier and
There's 54 books about the Horus heresy, brother. Is it one dude writing these? 400 plus books for the entire Warhammer? That's insane.
safer. Really
Def not
improve
one dude
humanity
writing then.
to allow them to conquer
No?
the
Yeah.
stars without the risk of the warp. Well, this big red idiot named Magnus kind of blew a hole into that. Literally and figuratively. So Big E over there is stuck on a gigantic golden throne, holding back the oncoming rush of demons and powering the Astronomicon. Basically a big North Star for people who are sailing in the warp to help them navigate. The Horus heresy saw many loyalist and traitor legions pitted against each other in a bloody war until it reached Terra itself. Horus, unable to break through the lines and with time running out, made a gambit and opened his ship up to be boarded. The Emperor took this challenge, quickly allowing someone else to take control of the throne as he teleported his way onto Horus's flagship, the Vengeful Spirit. The Emperor, unable to truly kill his most beloved son, changed his mind right quick when Horus strangled the life out of his other son, Sanguinius.
Oh no!
I'm sure you've seen this image at some point. The Emperor then said, "I'm not gonna sugarcoat it," and proceeded to psychically blast Horus into complete oblivion, killing not only his body, but also his soul. Horribly wounded from this duel, the Emperor is returned to the Golden Throne in order to keep the demons at bay and power the Astronomicon, because without it, humanity would be flying blind. There he sits, slowly dying from his wounds and the strain of powering the Golden Throne.
The art's too good, man.
Keeping him alive is feeding upon the souls of 1,000 psychers every single day. This was 10,000 years ago. We are now in the 41st millennium, modern day. Warhammer 40,000.
So only now have we made it Only now.
The Emperor remains on his throne. The Imperium is a rotting carcass of an empire, a fascist, xenophobic cult that worships the Emperor as a deity despite him never wanting to be seen as a god. Over the span of 1 million worlds, the
Nice Pope hat though. That's cool.
ecclesiarchy, the church of the Emperor, is spread throughout. Inquisitors with unparalleled power root out any
I do feel very at home with all these skull imagery.
sign
So
of
shout out them
heresy
for that.
or lack of devotion to their god emperor. The other half of the traitor legions move about as chaos space marines, raiding and pillaging the
Chaos
Imperium,
Space
while the loyalist
Marines?
half does their best to keep
I like the sound of
empire
that.
alive. All throughout this, they must endure orc invasions, Eldar
The orcs are
trickery, the
back.
reawakening of the Necron race, and the Great Devourer, the newest tyrannid threat from the darkness between galaxies that has arrived to feast on their world.
That looked like a Bionicle, respectfully.
The theme of Warhammer 40,000 is regression and intolerance. Every major faction in Warhammer has had an empire that spanned the galaxy only to be crushed back to a hollow shell of what they once were due to their own failings. Culture, the arts, personal freedom, religious tolerance, the simple possibility that alien life might not want to kill us is considered heretical and is often met with a pistol to the head. There is no time for these things. All there is time for is worship of the God Emperor and a million wars to be fought. To be a human in the 41st millennia is 99% of the time to live a horrible existence. To be one of trillions of other humans across a million worlds throughout the galaxy. A galaxy where AI is outlawed, so humans are repurposed and lobotomized.
No more free anime art. It's actually a good thing.
To become slaves, a place where lack of devotion is met with death. And if you even have devotion, there's a good chance the threats to the galaxy, chaos, and aliens will kill you anyway. Warhammer is a world where you revel in being bad. There are protagonists, there are antagonists, but
Okay.
every faction is some shade of evil. Because playing the bad guys is always more fun.
So
And my
damn
friend,
true.
You have a selection.
All
So
right,
pick
all
up
right.
that
I'm
last
getting
gun,
it. I'm understanding.
soldier. You and the other 3 million men and women in this single deployment on this single world in this single battle will now show them the might of the God Emperor. That weapon in your hands has killed 99% of the alien populations in this galaxy. Unfortunately for you, soldier, you're fighting the final 1%. May the Emperor be with us. Glory to the first man to die, for in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war.
Dude, this was so good. I really did not know what to expect going into it. I just know a lot of you guys loved it, so I was gonna give it a try. But like, I vibe with the art to such an extreme degree that I'm legitimately interested in it. And I didn't get to see an Imperium, I don't think. I know Heimeister was hyping them up to me. What is this?
Thank
Just
you,
an outro?
everyone. I hope
Thank
I helped
you
to teach you
for making
about
the video.
Warhammer. If you are a brand new person,
Oh,
and
God.
you want to get a
Oh,
bit
God,
more
these are the
about
books.
The world. There are multiple books that do a great job at showing off how the entire universe operates. For the most part, Warhammer is a
What if I don't
setting,
wanna read?
and often stories
She's
are
beautiful,
told
by the
in
way.
that setting with a Warhammer coat of paint. Gaunt's Ghosts is Band of Brothers, but Warhammer. It's honestly one of my #1 recommendations for new people. Assassinorum Kingmaker is an assassin novel involving those night worlds. This is Mission Impossible.
Dude, I've seen like 70 characters throughout this video, and like if you put them in a top 100 list, they're all on it. How are all the designs this good?
Warhammer. Bloodlines.
Guys, if I found this before I became a VTuber, I'd look way different probably. I'd still have the skull motif going on, but
is Blade Runner, but Warhammer. And the list goes on and on. If I had to recommend a brand new novel for a first-time Warhammer enjoyer, these are the 4 I would recommend. Horus Rising, Caiaphas Cain, First and Only Gaunt's Ghost, and Infinite and the Divine.
these covers look so goofy, no disrespect, but they look like weirdly CGI. compared to the rest of the art.
They are all fantastic novels, and they will get you acquainted with the world without needing to know too much. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Get yourself a Gamer Subs
W Gamer Subs flavor. W franchise? Do I call Warhammer franchise? That was goated. I want to be evil, and everyone is evil, so it's perfect. I understand all of you loving this. I really do. I get it now. Shout out Warhammer. If you'd like to see me watch more, yo, recommend some in the comments or something.